For more on this issue, we are now joined by Professor of Civil Engineering Sciences at the University of Johannesburg, and his name is Professor Felix Okonta, and he joins us via our Zoom link. Professor, thank you so much for joining us here on the late edition. I'm sure you've been keeping tabs on that story and what took place in the Johannesburg CBD. We still don't know what caused that blast. We were given three scenarios, possible scenarios that may have taken place, of course, by the city manager yesterday. According to your experience, what does it seem like may have occurred here that have caused this blast?
Well, thank you very much, and good evening. The thing is that we've had to deal with this issue for some time now. The blast could have come from a gas that ignited. That's the one possibility, and that possibility has not been ruled out. The issue that the gas it has to do with gas still remains, but there could be other options that were not being explored, and that is the fact that the servitudes, there are a number of servitudes under the ground, and each of them could have been exposed to any form of explosion. And the reason why I say this is because of the fact that servitudes are by nature longitudinal. They are laid around the ground. And when you look at the crater, that's the cracks. The cracks run along one side of the road. And that's probably close to the side that those servitudes were. So anything could have caused that. What we do know, at least from the comments, is that they've ruled out the possibility that these things were done by informal miners. That is one thing that has been ruled out. We are not quite sure exactly what could have caused this. And I think that until a detailed investigation lead to what exactly caused it, I think we may just simply be speculating.
And Professor, you are leaning more towards the servitudes pipes in the city of Johannesburg. When you look at those servitude pipes, is it a issue of maintenance, of looking at those servitude pipes?
Well, it could clearly be an issue of maintenance. It could also be an issue of leakage, and it could be an issue of leakage that then penetrated towards the surface. So yes, it's got to do one way or the other with the issue of leakage. But what surprised me is that the issue of informal mining has been completely delineated, meaning that the possibility that this thing has got anything directly or indirectly to do with informal mining is not there anymore. I'm quite surprised by that, and the reason why I'm quite surprised by that is because of the fact that the entire Johannesburg has got extensive informal mining activity. So, but we are told that they have nothing to do with this, and I think we should simply wait until we come to exactly what could have caused it.
And now, Professor, I'm sure you've seen that package in which we've played that so many lives have been inconvenienced by this tragedy taking place in the city of Johannesburg. How long can it take to actually repair the damage in a city like Johannesburg?
Well, the damage is yet to be quantified. That is one thing. The damage is yet to be quantified. In fact, my thinking is that it is still going on and that the cracks are still expanding. So until we get to that stage when the damage, especially the cracks, are well quantified, we may not even begin to think about the protocol for repair.
We've also, seen new developments saying that there's a possibility of Bree Street collapsing. From what you have seen, what is the likelihood of seeing that tunnel collapsing in Bree Street?
Well, exactly. That's partly the reason why it is important that we don't even begin to quantify repair until we can quantify the extent of damage. And collapse has to do with the fact that it is time dependent. Time dependent means that we could well be looking at things that break down gradually. For example, the fact that you have a blast of that nature means that the ground was substantially shaken. And because it was substantially shaken, we may indeed be looking at consolidation settlement. And this consolidation settlement takes time to happen. And when they happen over those buildings, it may well mean that even though that they've told us that the integrity of the structure is not impaired, we may deal with time-dependent settlement. So I think that where we are currently is a phase where we are still looking at the damage, the propagation of the damage, actually. And that is something that may well continue, because when you look at the cracks on the road, they are gradually expanding. When it happened, it wasn't this wide, but gradually, through what you call stress relaxation, the cracks are now opening up, and the extent is still yet to be quantified.
And of course, you keep on saying that we don't know yet the extent of the damage which has been done. And of course, we should allow for these investigations to get underway. There are reports surfacing that the City of Johannesburg may not have the expertise needed to actually deal with the magnitude of that blast in which we saw earlier on in the week. Do you think that they have the capacity, to actually find out and also repair the city, which has, caused a major problem for a number of people's lives?
The country has got the expertise. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure of the expertise that is available in COJ. That's the City of Johannesburg. But the country has got the expertise to deal with this extent of damage. We have very good structural engineers. We have very good engineers that specialized in the effect of vibrations. We also have good geotechnical engineers. I'm not trying to canvas for myself here, but we've got the capability, the country, to deal with this. It's not something that the scale is not available. It may not be, like I said, it may not be available in COG, but it is clearly available in the country.
And what has this experience actually taught a world-class city like Johannesburg?
Well, thank you very much for that question. The real issue is this. What came up in this speculation is, in fact, the possibility, because why are we even talking about or contemplating or speculating about informal mining? The reason we do that is because the city is there is extensive activity of informal mining in Johannesburg. And what this blast should remind us is the fact that we should do everything we can to protect servitudes, to protect those underground servitudes. And that's precisely because of the fact that we cannot absolutely rule out that because in Bree, what we do have in Bree is isolated somehow. We cannot say for sure that when it happens in the next street or the street after that it may not have a bearing on informal mining. We cannot rule that out. So what this in particular will teach all of us is that we should put in protocol to protect the underground servitudes.
All right, Professor, thank you so much for your time. That is Professor Felix Okonta. He is from the University of Johannesburg under the Department for Civil Engineering Sciences.